With your CIGTV News update this Monday evening, I'm Donna Bush. We begin with an announcement from the Department of Environment on Monday morning. Officials have opened a second registration period for green iguana colors. They say the number of the invasive iguanas being culled each day is under decline, partly due to rainy weather conditions.
We're going to try and beef up the culling workforce, and we're going to resume registration of colours again, starting on Thursday this week, running Thursday, Friday, and then I think Saturday as well,
Saturday,
up until the middle of the day at least. Not Sunday, not Monday, because Monday's a public holiday, but then again Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday the following week. So registration is going to run a little different this year, and it's going to involve prospective cullers first registering with the cull contractor at the landfill site. That way they get to see what it's all about at the time they register. And all the initial registration steps will take place there at the landfill. Cullers who do register will then come here to the department to sign their agreements with government and to get their cull registration cards. We're still working on the fine details of the DOV side of that, but we'll probably be looking at trying to bring as many as we can into the Friday afternoon slot so that we can deal with people in groups, because we have to go through these agreements. And it's much more efficient to do many people at one than it is to do everybody one at a time. So we're hoping that most people who are serious about registering as cullers who aren't already registered will get themselves down to the landfill, begin the registration process on Thursday and on Friday morning, and come and see us on Friday afternoon. But people who can't do that, it's going to carry on into the following week.
We have had a lot of interest from people that missed the initial registration and wanted to get involved. So we have a waiting list of some 60 to 70 people, but that does not preclude others that haven't previously shown an interest coming down, finding out what it's all about. As long as they're Caymanian, over 18, have all the necessary documents to show so, then they can be registered and get involved. I think also the culling, originally we were going to we had fairly high cull requirements to be in there, some 20 iguanas a day. I think we're looking at relaxing those cull targets, so people that previously probably didn't have the time to dedicate to this project but were able to get involved can now do so at a reduced effort.
Minister for the Environment, the Honourable Dwayne Seymour says, "I wish to note my appreciation for the ongoing initiative of the DOE and the efforts of the cullers to date. And if you're interested in signing up for the Green Iguana Culling Program, you're encouraged to go to the Georgetown landfill to find out how." Well, after the announcement of the Green Iguana Culling registration on Monday morning, Department of Environment officials also went over the results of a 2-year Darwin Grant-funded study of green sea turtle nesting populations here on Grand Cayman. The study was done in partnership with the University of Barcelona, the University of Exeter, UK, and the Cayman Turtle Center. It was funded by the Cayman Islands Governor's Fund, the Darwin Initiative, and the DOE. A brief statement from the DOE says the study allowed them for the first time to estimate the number of nesting female turtles in the Grand Cayman turtle population and the contribution of farm-released turtles into the wild. Answering questions from the press, DOE Director Gina Ebanks-Petrie says she didn't want anyone to lose sight of one contributing factor to the success of the program, while DOE Research Officer Janice Blumenthal addressed more specific questions related to turtle nesting and genetics.
We are continuing to look at the effects of the genetic relatedness of the turtles that are released. We know that we're not seeing very low levels of genetic diversity, which would be quite concerning if we had inbreeding. The levels of genetic diversity are currently similar to or higher than other wild populations. And we have not seen any negative impacts in terms of very low hatch success. We do monitor all those parameters in the wild, but continuing monitoring is needed because some of the effects of outbreeding of turtles being too genetically different are only seen in later generations. So the results so far are very, very good, but it's useful to continue to monitor those parameters of genetic relatedness both inside the farm in terms of whether the turtles in the farm are more related or more genetically similar, and also outside the farm.
The changes that were made to the fisheries regulations have to be given credit for part of this success, because had we continued to allow fishermen to take mature females, then who knows?
Well, then our population would continue to be
Yes.
zero if if all of our turtles were removed from the population by hunting or poaching. We wouldn't see any recovery in either species.
And the study only applies again to the green sea turtle, which again the study shows most of the adult female green sea turtles that have come back to nest more than 20 years later did so after being born at or having a connection to the Cayman Turtle Center. And that ends today's news update here on CIG Television. If you missed it, you can go to the Cayman Islands Government Facebook page, as well as the CIG Television YouTube channel. I'm Donna Bush, wishing you a safe and wonderful night, and thanking you for joining us as always here on CIG Television.
I'm Jody Ann Powery. I'm the Police Media Officer with the RCIPS, and I'm here to give you some crime prevention tips on how to best protect your property. The first thing that we want to discuss is our points of entries. Let's start with the front door, and then we'll move on to the windows and the back doors or sliding glass doors. The first thing to consider is the front door. This particular front door has 2 deadbolt locks. One of these deadbolt locks are properly carpentered and the other is not. When your door is properly locked, you'll hear a click at the end and the deadbolts are not able to move. If it is slightly opened, then you can push the deadbolt back without having any restrictions. I'll now proceed to show you what your lock should look like when it is properly locked. When it comes to your windows, you want to make sure that your window is locked all the way down, because even though the lock is on, if it's not all the way down, it can still be pried. The proper way to lock the window is to make sure that the window goes all the way down to the seal and then you pull across the lock. When you have a sliding glass door at home, you want to make sure that you have secondary locking devices in addition to the lock that comes with the door. One of those can be a simple piece of wood that's jamming the doorway. We want to encourage you to ensure that you don't make things easy for burglars who are looking for opportunities to break into property by leaving your property out in plain view. Some of these items are your car keys, your electronics, and your handbags. Make sure that you put these properties away when you're leaving the house or when you're going to bed. When you're going camping or if you're taking your family on a trip, you want to ensure that your property has some sign of life. This can be done by leaving a light on or putting timers on your lights. And we want to ensure that our family homes are safe. In order to do so, we encourage that people take the proper precautions by starting up neighborhood watches or encouraging family members or persons they trust to check on their properties while they're away.
The Esterly Tibbetts Highway 3-lane roundabout is ready for drivers. It's time to make sure you know how to use it. First, know which exit you need to take. Pay attention to lane arrows and signs. Make sure you use your signal to change lanes or exit the roundabout. To turn left, you always approach in the left-hand lane and indicate left. To drive straight ahead, you need to be looking out for signs and road markings indicating which lane to use. Get in one of the lanes marked with a straight-through arrow. If turning right, you must use the right-hand lane and indicate accordingly. To use the roundabout safely, remember these 3 tips. Know your exit, pick your lane, and signal to make your turn.